I think when Roger says that I had trouble with the pressure of being a bird, I think that's really accurate. I've had a lot of time to think about it, of course, and for many years didn't want to think about it. At the time, it bothered me that when we stepped on stage, the people immediately went crazy. It's like we hadn't played a note yet, and they were on their feet. And I felt like I had nothing to do with this. Other men did the work. They're gone. You know, something's not right. And I couldn't find my place in it. I felt like, I remember the moment when I understood this. There was a TV set that was being sold and touted as the latest innovation in technology. It had a feature called Works in a Drawer. And it was some kind of circuitry that slid into the back of your TV. And there were maybe half a dozen of these things. And they were just printed circuits on pieces of, I don't know, plastic or something. But we hadn't seen these before. And the idea was, if something's wrong with your TV, you don't have to call a repairman. You don't have to lug your TV set to the repair shop. You just pull out the works in a drawer, throw it away, buy a new one, put it in. It'll work. So I remember when I saw that commercial on TV, I realized that's who I am. They lost Crosby, right? They lost Hillman. I'm a Band-Aid. I'm just a Band-Aid. I came in here and I sing the high parts and I play the bass, but do I really have any input into the band? And I felt like it was a lie, right? Because we were just doing the hits. I had nothing to do with those hits, you know? And I had been this guy so many times. I'd been in bands where they needed a new guy, new blood, and I'd come in there and I'd be the guy. You know, I learned fast. I could sing harmony. I could play, you know. So I started to feel like that. I started to feel like this is false. This is really false. It's kind of a hollow thing. I'm not really contributing anything that's really based on who I am. I'm just serving a function that I thought anybody could do. But now when I listen to the live recordings, I realize, not anybody can do that. You know, once I was able to separate myself from it and just listen to it as a document of a band playing, it's a kick-ass band. Who's that bass player? You know, it's me when I was 20, you know. But at the time, I couldn't see that. And then one day, I was sort of breaching this subject with Roger, and he just said to me, oh, the Byrds will be a good credit on your resume someday. And he was right, right? But at the time, it pissed me off. I thought, I'm not doing this for a resume. I don't care about a resume. I'm putting myself into this. So I couldn't, it wasn't the pressure of being a rock star. It was the pressure of stepping into a situation that existed before I got there. And it made no sense to me. It'd be like your dad cured cancer. And then everywhere you went, people stood up when you walked in the room. I didn't do it, my dad did it. You know, so there was a lot of that element for me. And the specific incident which led to me leaving the band, of course I was young and a hothead and wasn't very good about communicating this kind of stuff. So I was basically bitching to Clarence and Gene. And so they knew, and they were saying to Roger, you know, John's not happy, John's not happy, you know. So it was all a very natural series of events. But we played in Texas, and the equipment was lost, and the band waited something like 5 hours for the band to play. And there must have been something funny about the money, because we did a 20-minute set, and Roger went, let's get out of here. I said, what? These people waited 4.5 hours to see us. Let's give them a great show. He said, last song, I couldn't believe it. I remember it was Rock and Roll Star, and I was just hitting the string, and I was going, I can't believe this. I can't believe we're not giving these people what they want, what they paid for, what they waited for. But probably we were getting stiff for the money. I didn't know all that information, whatever. So I remember in the cafeteria having a cup of coffee with Clarence and Gene and saying, you know what, 6 months, I'll do this for 6 months more. I'm out of here. I just got to save some money so I can move out. I'm going to move up to San Francisco. And I was just blowing off steam. You know, probably the next day I would have been fine. But they took it to heart. And they said, wow, John's really, he's got to get out of here. He's going to explode or something. So I didn't quit the band. I mean, emotionally I quit the band. Like during Ballad of Easy Rider, there's one point where we were doing It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. Yeah, It's All Over Now, Baby Blue we were doing. And Terry Melcher was sort of like riding me about what harmony he wanted. And there was another song where Gene was like riding me about what the bass part should be. And I finally said, Gene, you play the bass on this song. And then I said later, Terry, you sing the harmony. And I just went in another room and played piano. So emotionally, they saw that. They knew, oh man, John's just... But then also, I felt them riding me. I felt them pushing me. They knew I was unhappy. And so I didn't quit the band officially. Officially, what happened was Gene called me up. He's great. He said something like, Jean-Pierre, sit down. So, you know, like that, you know. So, you're out of the band, boy. Like that. You know, it was like that, you know. But it was no surprise to me that I was out of the band. I was not the guy that you'd want to be in the band. Like when a guy gets to the point where he sort of spins out emotionally, everybody can feel it. So Roger was right in the sense that it was the pressure, but it was not, definitely not performance pressure or anything like that, because you step on stage, none of that stuff mattered. But the relationship we had with the audience and who I was in that relationship, I had a really difficult time rectifying all that. I was like 19 or 20 or something. Didn't make any sense. And then I went through a long period for many years where I denied that I was John York. People would stop me and say, yeah, gee, no, some guy who looks like me. And long period where I just didn't want anything to do with it. It was such a puzzle for me. You know, and then years later I was able to think, oh, what an opportunity. I could have helped Roger rebuild the band if I really understood the situation better. But that's a very honest answer right there as to what happened.